us off.
We're doing a shanty show off of the beautiful patio overlooking the Atlantic Ocean here in St. Martin's, New Brunswick. We're here with our friends from Brise-glace. Hello, friends.
Hello.
Good to be with you here in person.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, no, what a pleasure. Cheers.
So start us off and set the record straight. Brise-glace definitely means broken glass, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with the ships that were breaking the ice.
What a convenient icebreaker to get us started. So Brise-glace being an icebreaker, not broken glass.
So people have probably picked up by now that you guys are from Quebec.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other Quebec shanty groups, but that's probably my own limited knowledge. How do a bunch of guys from Quebec get into sea shanties?
Well, then there are not a lot of groups in Quebec doing sea shanties. There are a couple of groups. There are at least one group in Les Murins doing. They compose their own song and they record their own song. But a group like us, maybe a couple of them, but not a lot. In Quebec, we do have a lot of maritime songs.
Yes.
But we don't know about sea shanties. The word shanties, or in French, chants de marin, which were work songs.
Yep.
But we call them songs from rivers. But in French, of course, we have river means rivière. In English, you have river for rivière and fleuve, which the Saint Laurent, for example, is a river in English. In French, it's a fleuve, because it goes out to the sea.
Yes.
It's not the same thing. Rivière is smaller.
Yes.
So we have a lot of
river,
songs from the Voyageur.
Voyageur,
So and they are maritime songs and they are sea shanties.
Yes.
We should. So there are a lot of songs like that, but we don't know the tradition of sea shanties, because of course when sea shanties started, it was in the 19th century.
Yes.
And 19th century in Quebec, it was all British. There was British Navy that was there.
Yeah.
The people in Quebec, they don't know that even in English song, we still talk about Quebec. We still talk about Montreal also. But no, we didn't pick up those kind of songs. I remember doing the Voyageur with the canoe, and we were singing, but we would never call them sea shanties.
Yeah. I think this is an important part of maritime music that is unique to Canada. Are these songs, the paddling songs from the Voyageur?
A paddling song,
To coordinate these huge canoes that would have a dozen people on them carrying furs.
And it was very, very important because it worked exactly the same way as it did on ships.
Yes.
And I remember doing some research on it. They were trying to go faster than steamships.
Yes.
They were able to do it.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people coming from either England or from the States, like Washington Irving, for example. He made the trip with the Voyageur, and he wrote down several songs.
Yeah.
Thanks to him, we have several songs, because the French people, we don't write them down too much. Unlike the British and the English, you have a great tradition of keeping all those songs, collecting. That's a word that was. It's the same word in French, so I should have known. Collecter. It's exactly the same word, and we don't have that tradition. So thanks to Washington Irving and other English-speaking people.
Yeah.
Of course, in Quebec, that's right. There is not a lot of chanty band, of course, but in Brittany, it's like. Just crazy.
Yes.
There are hundreds.
Very strong
of
maritime music tradition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And festivals. I mean, just in Brittany, there is probably 40 festivals.
Wow.
Over the course of a year.
Wow.
It's
For the festival
That's too many.
sea shanties.
Let's face it, that's too many.
If you go to Brittany,
it's about everything. It's like, the Coquille Saint-Jacques, the Shell, or the first Thursday of the week. Oh yeah, let's have a party. Let's do this. It's a festival now.
So how did you guys start then? How did you get into it?
Well, we met in 2002.
Yeah.
Gwenn and I at Saint-Jean-Port-Joli, the only sea shanty festival in Quebec.
Yeah.
And were you fans, or were you attending as musicians when you went?
No, fans.
Yeah.
But I've been singing sea shanties for 35
years.
years, something like
Yeah.
this. Back in France, I had a band, Les Boucaniers de Saint-Malo.
Okay.
But we were the same camping. In fact, it was raining cats and dogs, and we ended playing ping pong. In fact, in the kind of the room, and we started singing together, and boom, we said, oh, well, next time we should do something. And
Because he did sail a lot. Yeah, you were in the Navy, and I did sail also on the St. Lawrence River. I was on ship when I got back, and I was missing sea a lot. So that's why we started singing.
And then after that, we had different bands. We played together for a while. We've been to Europe together, and after that we split. I started another band, and then that's where we met.
Alexandre.
I met Alexandre, and then that was 7 years ago.
7 years ago. I was in a bar. My father. I come from Brittany too, and my father is a French Navy officer.
Yep.
So I lived with this song all my young life, and I was in a bar in Montreal, and I saw Gwenn singing this song.
And feel along.
I fell in love. I was drunk.
Yeah, it sounds like a useful song.
Yeah. So I call him. I was musician before in different band, and but I just had a banjo, and I didn't. I didn't
know how to
play.
play?
I didn't how to play, and I called Gwenn. I find his I find his phone number, and I say, "Hey man, I have a banjo. I don't play. I don't sing too, but
I don't have a banjo, but I have a banjo.
When he joined, he was saying, "I can play a banjo barely, but I don't think." I don't sing at all. And now you're leading probably 30% of the song.
Yeah.
It's good encouragement to anyone out there listening to this, right? Like,
And brise-glace, the band brise-glace was this three of us.
That was the three of us at first, yeah.
And after that, we were four with another accordion player. And
and Antoine, that's how you introduced yourself, right? You have an accordion and you know how to use it, so
Yeah.
watch out. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not. I didn't grow up or anything like in the sea shanties, universe. It's just I come from a music family, but we're into Quebecois traditional music. Actually,
Yes.
that's what I do. That's what I did most of my life, and I've always been interested in sea shanty because it's the part where both worlds are like colliding. It's like traditional songs. It's usually songs. It was sung by common people. It's usually like inclusive. Like in jam sessions, like everyone knows a bit of a song. So I know more. I knew more call and response song. For example, I've been to a few sessions where it's like someone starts a song, everyone answers, and you don't have to know it to participate. It's the same like community spirit I find with the sea shanties, and so these guys were looking for an accordion player, and actually managed I think it was like on a Facebook group or something like musicians from Montreal, and I think they said something like accordion player that likes to sing sea shanties and also likes beer.
We know a guy.
And this friend of mine, I was like, I know the perfect guy for you. So we met. Last year.
It was last year?
Yeah, barely a year ago.
He was so right.
What was the song that made you fall in love?
That was my question. He was drunk.
I don't remember that.
Sing it now and see if it still works.
No. I remember. I remember exactly because it's a French song from Michel Tonnerre.
Okay.
Michel Tonnerre is a great composer, Bretonese. There were a sea shanty song revival in the 80s.
Yeah.
So a lot of songs was written at this time, and now it's some kind of classic. But and the perfect one for the Breton. It's Mon petit garçon.
Mon petit garçon.
Mon petit garçon. Yeah.
On peut aller chercher
Can we take our instrument?
we can.
Yeah,
If we can make
a cappella.
it. Yeah, a cappella.
aussi? Okay, go.
Okay, a cappella.
Dans la côte à la nuit tombée, on chante encore sur les violons. Chez Bedef à l'accordéon, c'est pas la bière qui te fait pleurer. Et l'accordéon du vieux Joe envoie le vieillard du matelot, fout des embruns au fond des yeux, et ça te reprend chaque fois qu'il pleut. Allez Joe, fais-nous l'Irlandais, t'as appris quand tu naviguais, pendant
escale à Galway, du temps où t'étais tribordé, du temps où c'était pas la joie. Veiller au grain dans les pavois, les mains coupées par le vent glacé, sans même la force de fredonner. Mon petit garçon, mets dans ta tête, y a des chansons qui font la fête. Et crois-moi, depuis le temps que je traîne, j'en ai vu pousser des rengaines de Macao à la Barbade. Ça fait une paye que je me balade, et crois-moi que ça peut faire aux vieux une bordée de rides autour des yeux.
You can see what you see in him.
Yeah.
Get up and waltz.
Yeah.
Stop touching my foot.
This song is so great because either in Brittany or even in Montreal, when there's a lot of Bretons in the crowd, they sing very loud with us, and it's so great to watch them sing with us.
Cool.
So for me, it's my favorite part of the show.
I think that's the best part for any band, right? When the audience is just singing right back.
Well, to get all together. Yeah. And if you go over there, you start singing that song, especially in the Sea Shanty festivals.
Yeah.
You're gonna have, I don't know.
Jimmy.
Surround sound.
Here's your
James
next
gotta learn
Franco
it.
song.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Learn it.
I'm
Would
curious
you-
about something. We were talking about the inclusive nature of you don't need to know the songs. You can sing the answer part. And with the sea shanties, with the English language ones, often the lyrics are pretty easy for people to jump on because you got people from all over the world working in these crews. So to go back to the Voyageur songs, I was kind of curious. Given that a lot of French Canadian culture developed from learning from the First Nations, and even like at the Métis kind of fiddle music, have you guys ever heard anything about any sort of? Is there any influence on the Voyageur songs from First Nations?
I've never said. They might have been, but unfortunately, we don't have a lot of songs that were passed down.
I'm sorry.
No.
Your
order is a very important
part.
That's part of the podcast. That's part of it. That's part of
For
life.
those of us listening on the recording, we're
Yeah.
ordering beer. I will have a radler.
That's normal. That's a normal.
I'm thinking about the fact that the ceinture fléchée is an indigenous thing. Portage is it's indigenous. The whole learning all the waterways, the river patterns would have been learned from the First Nations people. And I remember we were chatting with Craig Edwards a while ago, and he was sort of saying that the work song form is not really a European thing. Like he said, like there were no like cathedral building shanties, as he said.
Yeah.
And how this really came out of African culture and then Afro-Caribbean, African-American. And the only example I've thought of European sort of work songs I've heard are the Scots Gaelic, the walking songs, where they're sort of hitting the cloth into the table and
Yes, it's a
singing column.
textile making.
Yeah,
song, right?
but beyond that, I've never heard of any other sort of European.
They do.
They do, yeah.
Tu sais, quand tu tirais les bateaux sur les quais, là, chanson de halage.
When you're pulling boats up the canal.
Yeah.
Basically,
walking up the canals.
Are there
They had the
canoe
tow
songs
paths.
though in Brittany? Are there
Canoe? No, no.
paddling songs?
No.
So this is what I'm wondering: is this something that French people just started doing in Canada, or were they learning this from Indigenous people? I was curious if you'd ever heard anything about that, or if that just never got.
Well, we know
documented.
that at the beginning of the 19th century here in Canada, we did have working songs, paddling songs.
Yeah.
So we know that.
Yeah.
This is for sure. We don't know. At the beginning of the 19th century, we don't know exactly which songs there were.
Right.
So we guess that even in New France, there were some songs like that. Because if ever you have done that, it's easier to do it all in sync.
All together, yeah.
Yeah, so that's it.
It's faster.
Yeah, it's faster. It's really faster. But I've never seen anything in my research pointing out to indigenous songs.
Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Yeah, of course. But it was an oral tradition, and they didn't write. Even the French, even I don't know about the English on the English side, but for the French, even here, they didn't know how to write. It's a working tool.
Right.
You're not gonna draw a hammer just for the fun of it, saying
Well
that's
said.
art. No,
Yeah, well
so you
said.
know those songs. and that's all.
Because even in with the shanties, it wasn't really considered music until it was sort of disappearing, and the collectors started sort of coming out and got to write this down.
Yes.
But that's sort of at the decline of this music. It's not at the beginning, and it's not at the even at the peak.
His great uncle.
Yeah.
I remember when I had the chance to meet him in 2009, and he told us that in the 60s, first time he was asked to go on stage and sing those songs that we're singing on ship.
Yeah.
And his answer was, why?
Is that the history in Brittany though? 'Cause, like similar, because in the UK what happened was, a bunch of old sailors all of a sudden realized, in the 60s folk revival, where folk music was popular, from California all the way through Europe, that these songs could be performed and they could make a living doing it. Is that the story of how they became popular in Brittany as well? Yeah.
Yeah, before that, it was not Shanties per se. It was like you were mentioning in the podcast yesterday. It was all about opera and comic but it was song about the sea or about ships or about sailors. It was not sailor songs.
Yes.
So it changed. Yeah, it's absolutely changed after the Second War. Definitively.
Yeah, wow. You just said something that was very interesting in French, because in French there's no equivalent to to sea shanties. We say sailors' songs.
Yeah.
Though the sailors' songs are really the work songs.
Yeah.
And then after that, all the other songs, the kind of songs, because we have songs in ports, in harbors, and all, those are maritime songs.
Yes. En français, what is maritime songs?
Well, des chants maritimes, des chansons maritimes.
Yeah. But chants de marin is songs of sailors.
Well, chant de marin is sea shanties. The equivalent of sea shanties, the work songs.
Yes.
There is chant de mer, chant
Chant
de
de mer,
bord.
So very literally songs of mariners is how
Yeah.
that would translate.
And we also sometimes have the spelling of shanty being, CH.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Matching the chant. The chant,
Yeah, it's chant, but there's also a theory that it's chantier.
Chantier,
Is
yeah.
a workplace, right?
Yeah.
It could be a chantier naval, or it could be like a lumber camp too.
Yeah, the lumbers, yeah. They did have songs too.
Yeah, that's right.
And some kind of our songs in French that we do in our list come from the revival of this kind of work song
Yes.
to the folk area, and in Brittany, it's a part of France who want to be independent,
Yes.
like
Quebec.
And in the 80s, there were a revival of the Breton identity.
Yes.
So
And
all
seriously, this is the same 80s revival around the music and
Yeah,
the
exactly.
independence and the... Okay.
and with the language, the Breton language came into the school for the children, and the fest-noz. Les fest-noz is fête de nuit in the Breton language.
Night party.
Night party.
Cool.
Fest-noz. There are a lot of fest-noz in this time, and a lot of bands who try to write songs about the sea and the
I could get down with this place, like night.
Oh,
You have a word for night parties? Yeah, man. Like that's what I'm saying. Absolutely. Do you speak Breton?
I understand.
Yeah.
But well, it's not every department or every region of
Yes.
Brittany that speak
Yes.
Breton. Alors, I come from Saint-Malo. We call that gallo.
Yeah.
And it was really the I would say the protection layer between France and Brittany.
Yes.
So because there was Gallo, the Gallo region,
Yes.
then Britain could develop and the language
Yes.
survive, in fact, like a buffer.
But for a long time, the language was forbidden.
Oh, yeah,
Interesting.
It's exactly the same thing that happened with the native people here.
Yes.
Same thing.
Well, and
I
then
mean-
doesn't this also relate? Wasn't there a banning of? And James, you're more of an expert on this, but when you look at more Gaelic culture, wasn't there
Yeah, there was
restriction of languages and
Yeah, and there was
music?
there was sort of a lot of shaming as well. So
Yeah, Welsh was pretty
if you
heavily.
wanted your kids to have a better future, you wouldn't teach your yeah. But same thing happened in Louisiana with French schools. They stopped them in the 1960s. They said there's no such thing as Cajun culture. You guys are all American. No more French schools. So,
Same thing that happened in Britain. I'm telling you, it was crazy. It was, they wanted to destroy it.
The Breton language is actually like a Celtic language,
Yeah.
like Wales, like
Yes.
Gaelic.
Yeah. And can we? So can again, James or someone? I'm a novice to this, but I know there's some interesting ties between Breton culture and England, like way back in the history. And can you just for listeners and for me as well, what's up with?
As I understand it, and I should maybe let the Breton guys answer this question, but after the collapse of the Roman Empire, when all the sort of Germanic and Nordic tribes were invading England, the Celtic people of England, the Romanized sort of Celtic people, sailed over to Brittany.
But I think the Roman never got to subdue. What's the word? To conquer part of Brittany.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why we get Asterix.
I'm exactly from that village.
Oh, and you can believe him. I went to.
Yeah. Gallo.
Gallo, yeah.
Is that connected to Gaelic?
Gaelic, it's Gaelic and Latin, so it's both together. So it's a mix of French and Gaelic, but it's different than Breton.
Gotcha.
So there are some words, of course, that were on both sides.
And when we have old people, there are some old people still alive who speak only Breton.
Wow.
Brittany.
Yeah.
It's really special to meet them.
Yes, for sure.
And when old ladies meet old Gaelic people from the Pays de Galles,
Wales,
you can understand each other.
Yeah.
And it's really special because it speaks Gaelic, speaks Breton, and you can understand each other.
So grammatically might be a little bit different, but I mean, you choose something like I don't know, bottle, whatever. Everybody knows in the same language.
We have one Welsh sea shanty that we sing, but it's not like the chorus is no longer remotely Welsh.
Okay.
Right? It's completely just garbled.
Yeah, that's another song.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, I'd love a song about the Saint Laurent.
Yeah. It's we don't have like that much song about the St. Lawrence, but that one is one of the most known in Quebec, I think.
Oh, excellent. I love it.
C'est sur les bords du Saint-Laurent, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. C'est sur les bords du Saint-Laurent, il y avait trois jolies filles. Il y avait trois jolies filles. Il y avait trois jolies filles. S'en vont le soir s'y promenant, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. S'en vont le soir s'y promenant, le long de la galerie. Le long de la galerie. Le long de la galerie. La plus jeune en s'y promenant, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. La plus jeune en s'y promenant, aperçoit un navire. Aperçoit un navire. Aperçoit un navire. Arrive au bâtiment, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. Arrive au bâtiment, te souhaite une bonne arrive. Te souhaite une bonne arrive. Te souhaite une bonne arrive. N'avez-vous pas vu mon amant, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. N'avez-vous pas vu mon amant dans ce joli navire? Dans ce joli navire. Dans ce joli navire. Oui, je l'ai vu, je lui ai parlé, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. Oui, je l'ai vu, je lui ai parlé, il est resté aux îles. Il est resté aux îles. Il est resté aux îles. Quand la belle entendit cela, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. Quand la belle entendit cela, elle est tombée malade. Elle est tombée malade. Elle est tombée malade. On fit venir le médecin, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. On fit venir le médecin, le meilleur de la ville. Le meilleur de la ville. Le meilleur de la ville. Le médecin en la voyant, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. Le médecin en la voyant, connut sa maladie. Connut sa maladie. Connut sa maladie. Mariella carie les temps, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. Mariella carie les temps, et elle sera guérie. Et elle sera guérie. Et elle sera guérie. C'est sur les bords du Saint-Laurent, puis papa, c'est l'amour qui la prend. C'est sur les bords du Saint-Laurent, il y avait trois jolies filles. Excusez-la.
Excellent song. What's Pi Papa c'est l'amour qui?
Pim Papa is just like sounds, but c'est l'amour qui la prend. It's love taking her, and it's the story of a gal who waits for a ship to arrive because like her lover is supposed to be on the ship.
Classic.
Yeah,
classic.
we don't like invent
Much, you know.
So I think that was appropriate given we're on the Atlantic, not far from where the St. Lawrence drains out all of the fresh water from the Great Lakes out into the ocean here. So thank you for that. I think that was absolutely apropos.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, really good one. Yeah, I'm partial to the St. Lawrence River myself. I named my son River. It was.
Should have gone for Fleuve.
Should have gone for Fleuve. You know what's really funny? Is that that's actually would be a pretty good name. And for Lilia, we wanted a name that we would do that could be English and French and Polish. That would cover all three of our combined families.
Okay.
Languages.
And my
So-
son's name is actually a Breton name.
what?
It's Loic. So you guys have done some pretty amazing things as a band. I mean, we were just chatting before this about some of the festivals that you've been to. Give us some of the highlights. What have some of been the best adventures you've had that this music's unlocked for you?
Oh my God, I would say Paimpol by far. I mean, that's la mecca of the song marin, of the Shanties. In fact, you go there and there are like more than 100 bands performing.
Paimpol?
Paimpol, it's in Brittany.
Yeah, that's
in
a
Brittany.
city in Brittany.
Yeah.
And it's just huge.
And it's a summer
massive,
festival, or
It's a summer festival
Summer
in August,
festival,
yes.
yeah.
Every 2 years.
2 years.
every 2 years. A
And next
weekend
one
or a
will be
week
next
or
year. It's a weekend.
Weekend, yeah.
It's 4 days, in
yeah,
fact.
yeah.
And 150,000 people.
It's so big.
I've heard Paimpol as well. There's a lot of boats that
exactly.
congregate there too.
200
Yeah,
boats.
it's really special because you are in a small port, and he took off all the pleasant boats, the bateaux de plaisance, and they came to all the old boats, old vessels.
So they clear all the modern yachts,
No, it's not.
and it's all classic boats.
Old classic
How
gaffers, just
cool.
old gaffers, old gaffers, old gaffers.
How cool would that be to
So
see
you
that?
sing on the boat.
Shit.
You sing on the boat
Yes.
to the people out in the quay.
Yeah.
In the wharf.
In the wharf, yeah.
So it's amazing.
Wow.
I want to talk a bit about the songs that you guys sing, because just sang us a song from Quebec, and you obviously sing Breton songs as well. But you also, last night when we were at the Legion Hall, sang John Kanaka, but with French lyrics. We were talking about donkey riding, and you said that there's a different version about Vie de Quebec that has been written with that. So, where do you find your songs? Like,
Well, as you know, we have a network with the podcast Bordel de Mer. So we're receiving how many shanties do we have now?
If I play them back to back, I think I have 10 days, 24 hours without repeating a single song. Well, a single song. Let's be honest.
Different versions.
Drunken Sailor, you're gonna hear it 10 times, but from different versions.
But long story short, we have access to thousands.
And I have
of
so you just pick the best.
Well,
So,
it's
no,
from
I-
15. I have music from 15 countries.
15 countries.
And the thing is, sometimes you hear a song and you say, oh, I don't know that version, but I've heard this other version, different language, it could be in English, for instance, and then we're trying to merge them. Like the same thing you've done with the one
we did yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Stormy's gone, that good old man. Way storm along, John. Stormy's gone, that good old man. Way, hey, Mr. Storm along.
It's same, like we have New York City Girls.
Yeah.
So the beginning is in French, and then half song we switch to English.
Okay.
But it's the same. The tempo is a little bit different, but the harmonics are the same.
And sometimes when we do party after the festival at night, and we pick up some lyrics also, like with Chris Ricketts in 2017, I think. I don't remember when he was at Saint-Jean-Paul-Chaudy. And for Drunken Sailor. He's the one who said, put him in the bed with the captain's daughter. But so, yeah, that's good. Have you ever seen the captain's daughter? And after that, he said, Jean-Francois is the captain's daughter. I tried it, but that didn't work. I tried it with Gwenn. So you pick. It's very
So the captain's daughter, but putting him in the bed with the captain's daughter is getting him whipped.
No,
that's what I mean.
Have you ever seen the captain's daughter? Oh, you wish you weren't in the bed with Captain's daughter.
Fair, you
Captain's daughter is
If she looks like him.
Yeah.
I wish you weren't in the bed with her.
Cat o' nine tails, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
captain's
yeah,
daughter
it's
is Cat o' Nine Tails,
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, that's where we pick up the songs. You know, we are trying to. What we do also, we look for songs that were excellent but kind of disappeared
Yes.
after a while because people were not singing them anymore, and we revive them,
Yes.
and give them a second life.
And with the four of us, we know so many songs that sometimes, we'd like to play that song. Oh, he comes up with a new song. Okay, let's play that song. And it's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, there's no lack of content out there.
Oh,
That's-
no.
No, oh no.
It's just a matter
It's-
of finding it and arranging it.
Yeah.
The selection is a hard process, in fact. Sometimes, like typically we're running with 40 songs, and you know when we want to do a set, it's like, oh no, on this one, oh yeah, but we need this one as well. No, but I mean this one, if you sing, I need to sing that one too. So it's like,
I like to say that for every song we like actually finish like arranging, like come up with something like good and clean.
Yes.
And for every of those songs, we have two more new songs we want to
Right,
sing.
at
like,
least, at
so
least.
at least,
sure.
yeah. So there's so many choices.
Yeah, I
That's-
know, I can relate. There's definitely some
You can relate.
songs in the hopper where it's like, okay, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and just it takes a lot to arrange them and work them out as a group, and everyone wants to kind of add their new piece. So yeah, no, there's.
And on making the set list, there's always the like, do I remember that whole song today? How late did we stay up last night? Yeah.
True.
And one thing that might be different compared to other bands is we brise-glace song. So it's a verb. We brise-glace a song. So we take it and we put the
our verb.
brise-glace sound on it.
Yes.
So sometimes it's about the rhythm. It could be Cajun songs. Could be we've done so many things. Right? The one that we are working on right now is Alabama.
Yeah.
So it starts
quite
with the
different from
regular.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It starts from that version,
Yeah.
and then we have the Alabama sound to it
Yeah.
and rhythm. So a little
Oh.
bit redneck.
I think
so.
it's, in the accent of Quebec, the French Quebecois accent, are the more phonetics in the world, in the language.
We have more sounds in
in more
Quebec.
sense, yeah. And so
right, that is true.
you can do some blues or some kind of this music.
This is true. This
yeah.
is absolutely true. Yeah.
You were asking the question of what does that word mean, and you were saying it's just sort of rhythm in a way, right?
Yeah.
But there's a tradition in Ireland of lilting, right? And there's a lot of that. A lot of the Irish music got embedded in the Quebec music too. And I mean, your father comes to mind as well, Benoit Burke.
It's we call it turlut.
Turlut,
I don't know if you've ever heard of La Bolduc.
Yeah.
Which is like an old singer-songwriter, like a Quebecois from the 20s, 30s maybe.
40s.
And so that was a woman who like wrote her own song, played like a fiddle, piano, or harmonica, accordion, and like hundreds of songs. And
So what was her name?
we call her La Bolduc.
Avec toi, je veux pas danser. Oh, la bastringue, puis la bastringue. Avec toi, je veux pas.
Her real name was Mary Travers. She actually came from the Gaspésie near La Baie des Chalands, you know. But we call the people called her La Bolduc because she was married to like Mr. Bolduc.
Yeah.
And when they started calling her that name is because she was a woman who played songs and wrote her own songs in the 20s, 30s, you know, that wasn't like well, a bit frowned upon, you know.
And when you say
And
La Bolduc, it wasn't a positive thing.
It's like, have you seen La Bolduc? You know what? That woman, La Bolduc, and she just kept
She owned
that.
it.
And what's
She
Bolduc?
totally-
B-O-L-D-U-C? Bolduc?
Yeah, and she is still to this day like one of the greatest turlut singers. Like,
It was
yeah,
incredible.
oh yeah. I mean, like, c'est what's the song? Ça va venir, découragez-vous pas là. Ça va venir puis ça va venir, mais découragez-vous pas. Moi j'ai toujours le cœur et puis je continue là-dessus. things like that.
But like, and that's very that diddly da but it's very it's like it is it's the same thing.
Dans une ville comme Montréal, après tout, on est pas mal, mais il faut bien se watcher les règlements, faut pas oublier.
And I've heard bits of something very similar in Jamaican music too.
Oh really?
Yeah, you get some of that too.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
C'est dans le port de Québec, Bonnie Laddie, Laddie,
La semaine qui au sec,
Bonnie Laddie, hey oh, c'est oh,
la confiance est un bon bateau.
hey oh, c'est oh,
On rentre à Saint-Malo.
c'est dans le port de Glasgow, Bonnie Laddie, Laddie,
Que le whisky coule à flot.
Bonnie Laddie, hey oh, c'est oh,
La confiance est un bon bateau.
hey oh, c'est oh,
On rentre à Saint-Malo.
c'est dans le port de Dublin, Bonnie Laddie, Laddie,
Les violons vous mettent en train.
Bonnie Laddie, hey oh, c'est oh,
La confiance est un bon bateau.
hey oh, c'est oh,
On rentre à Saint-Malo.
c'est dans le port de Bordeaux, Bonnie Laddie, Laddie,
Il y a du vin plein les tonneaux.
Bonnie Laddie, hey oh, c'est oh,
La confiance est un bon bateau.
hey oh, c'est oh,
On rentre à Saint-Malo.
c'est dans le port de Lisbonne, Bonnie Laddie, Laddie,
On va pour le Cape Horn.
Bonnie Laddie, hey oh, c'est oh,
La confiance est un bon bateau.
hey oh, c'est oh,
On rentre à Saint-Malo.
c'est dans le port de La Rochelle, Bonnie Laddie, Laddie,
Pas pour les filles les plus belles.
Bonnie Laddie, hey oh, c'est oh,
La confiance est un bon bateau.
hey oh, c'est oh,
On rentre à Saint-Malo.
c'est dans le port de Québec, Bonnie Laddie, Laddie,
La semaine qui au sec.
Bonnie Laddie, hey oh, c'est oh,
La confiance est un bon bateau.
hey oh, c'est oh,
On rentre à Saint-Malo.
hey oh, c'est oh,
La confiance est un bon bateau.
hey oh, c'est oh,
On rentre à Saint-Malo.
hey oh, c'est oh,
La confiance est un bon bateau.
hey oh, c'est oh, on rentre à Saint-Malo. C'est-tu correct, là?
Granddad will have a nap this afternoon.
Yeah, Granddad's gonna have a nap.
Bonnie Heel and Laddie got a little bit of Scottish in there. It's kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
donkey
absolutely,
riding. It's
yeah.
also in
Yeah, it is,
French.
Yeah.
Le Port de Québec, is that what it is?
Yeah, the Port of Quebec, yeah. Quebec Harbor.
Yeah. And that'll be Quebec City.
There's
Yeah.
a fiddle tune version of donkey riding, and I played it one time. And there was a guy there in the Canadian military, and he was like, "That's Heel and Laddie. That was my
Yeah.
regiment song, you know." That was like,
Regiment song.
It's also known as Dogger Banks.
Yeah.
Dogger
As
Banks
what,
also.
sir?
Dogger Banks.
Thank you.
Dogger Banks.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. In Scotland, I think it's Dogger Banks.
What's next for you guys, and how can people find out more about you?
Well, the easiest way would be brise-glace.ca. So
Brokenglass.ca.
But you have to learn French before that.
And you can go also on Facebook, and we have a Facebook page. There is also Bordel de Mer, the podcast, that you can find everywhere on every
In French and English, I understand, right?
French and
Yeah,
English.
there's two versions. Yeah, there's one version solely in French, and the other one only in English also. So,
Wow.
Second best shanty podcast I've ever heard.
I'm sure. But
Yeah, 17 years ago we started.
in 2006,
Wow.
700. I don't remember. I think nearly 400 episodes in French.
Dear God.
Nearly 300.
We're rookies.
Oh yeah, well, this is number
But
22 for us.
I used to do it every week.
Yes.
So that's why. Now it's it's
So-
gonna come back.
And each episode is like 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's just like ours.
It's 9 songs. And I try to cover, the songs from different languages, different countries. It's not more French, or sometimes maybe more French, sometimes more English. But also we have Polish songs, we have Dutch songs, a lot. So, like I said, I have the people from 15 countries sent me, but on compilation disc, I have even more than 15 countries. So I have Russian songs also. It's great. It's really great.
Yeah, crowdsourcing the content. Yeah.
As I say, this has been awesome hanging out with you guys. I really appreciate the chance.
Thank you so much to have us on your podcast.
Nice.
It was really a great afternoon.
Could we ask you to sing us one more song?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's Simon?
Yeah.
Simon?
Yeah, it's the most French of our songs.
When we said
Even more French?
Oh yeah,
that's a really Frenchy song.
It's French to the bone.
It's not Quebecois at all.
So on the degree, from not French to French, this is like
it's French.
Yeah.
That's Parisian. That's Parisian.
Thank you.
Okay.
What is that one?
It's called beer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You
That's
did
good.
want the IPA, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's it?
Yep. Quand Jean-Marie de Nantes revint de la Trinité, il déposa son sac au pied de son hôtesse, dans un bar pavoisé de toutes les promesses, au bistrot de Simone, à l'autre bout du quai. Qui donc a entendu cette belle histoire-là? Qui donc l'a fredonnée tout bas de porte en porte, chez Daisy, chez Simone ou chez Incarnita, qui l'a soufflé au vent de la rue morte? Simone aime les matelots aiment qui les aiment, et moi je peux penser le même, car c'est là mon moindre défaut. Et si la mer plaît aux Bretons, c'est qu'elle les tient en son giron. Et tant pis pour qui mal y pense, ça n'a pas tellement d'importance. Un homme qui revenait de Gibraltar Port-Franc avait dit à Simone, on ira en Afrique, à Zanzibar au lieu de boulotter des briques, je te couvrirai d'or ou qui vaut mieux d'argent. Tu reviendras à Nantes quand il en sera temps, dans ce jour enchanté de notre indépendance. Quant à ton homme Simone, c'est une affaire de sang, et ça n'a pas tellement une grande importance. Simone aime les matelots aiment qui les aiment, et moi je peux penser le même, car c'est là mon moindre défaut. Et si la mer plaît aux Bretons, c'est qu'elle les tient en son giron. Et tant pis pour qui mal y pense, ça n'a pas tellement d'importance. Simone ne sut jamais le vrai mot de la fin. L'écart de la police sonnait partout l'alarme. Les filles jacassaient au milieu du vacarme. Et pendant quelques jours, ce ne fut qu'un refrain. À peine chuchoté dans tous les clandestins, un refrain qui n'était qu'un souvenir de bagarre entre le gars de Nantes et l'homme du destin, au moment historique où les couteaux s'égarent. Simone aime les matelots aiment qui les aiment, et Incarnita pensait le même, et moi je vais me tirer au plus tôt. J'irai me crécher à Meudon, devant la scène et ses chansons, pour prendre un bon coup d'innocence, et rien n'aura plus d'importance. Oh,
Tough boys.